Palm Sunday makes me feel like a child whose parent is reading them a bedtime story. And just as it gets to that dark part of the story, where there's angst, anxiety, fear, that place where things are falling apart, the parent chooses to close the book and say, "We will finish the story later." No! No, please finish the story. I want to hear the end where everyone is surprised by joy and they live happily ever after, or at least good conquers evil. Not tonight. You need to get your rest. We will finish the story later. This analogy actually resonates because we come partway through the story and we're told you need to get some rest. The very last line of the narrative. On the Sabbath, they rested according to the commandment. Resting in the midst of all this? Resting for Westerners is often about resolution, closure, finishing something. It's not about listening, opening, being fine with being right in the middle of something. It's about running past ourselves, not meditating, not praying, or being present to the deepest parts of ourselves. We forget about the timing of this story. You know, it seems like a trivial fact off to one side. All of this happens right at a moment when they are supposed to be having a Sabbath. They're supposed to stop, be present to what they're experiencing, to learn from it, to be with it. They were left resting in a hard place. We don't think of rest that way. We think of rest as something not difficult. But that's not what Sabbath is. They were resting in sorrow, resting in grief, having their future stripped away, imagining a future without the one they love. Imagining the promised kingdom of God falling to an evil empire. Our passion story is how our tradition calls us to mindfulness, to be in yourself, with yourself, not running off to some better time or place or circumstance. Arthur Brooks, Harvard social scientist and columnist for The Atlantic, just released From Strength to Strength, a book about finding happiness in the second half of your life by shifting from endless striving to the joy of wisdom. He said this book was all about him trying to discover a way to be happy as his life shifted. In fact, he said that the 9 years he spent writing this book was not research, but me-search. I love that. Me-search. When have you spent time in me-search? Where are you? What's going on for you right now, today? Can you welcome that? He was guided by going inward, not outward. Palm Sunday models for us the spiritual discipline of stopping. Just stop. Be present to yourself. It's what the Buddhists call deep looking. Being present. It requires us to let go of a compulsive desire to control, to contain, to ignore, or to see the rough edges of our feelings of grief, anger, resentment, frustration, or even despair as our enemies rather than our teachers. We can't tie truth to a chair and beat a confession out of it with a rubber hose. That metaphor has always stayed with me. We can't force some resolution. We need to be with where we are, compassionate. Thich Nhat Hanh points out that Westerners use the phrase, don't just sit there, do something. And he suggests that perhaps our growing edge in challenging times could be to embrace a new phrase, don't just do something, sit there. Don't just do something, sit. If we are not present to ourselves, we abandon the kingdom which Jesus taught us is inside of us. The kingdom is now or never. That kingdom is now. It is within us. And when we run off to an anxiety, a fear, or something we resent about our past, we've abandoned our kingdom and we've opened it up to invaders who will destroy us with anxiety, resentment, all that negativity that comes in because we are not present in our kingdom. And our soul becomes a battlefield. We've all felt it. We sit there all by ourselves and there's a battle raging within us. And how can we ever think that we can bring peace to this divided and war-torn world whose streets are filled with rage and violence if we ourselves are not peaceful inside? You know, and I trust Thich Nhat Hanh. You know, that Western part of me says, too much navel-gazing for my taste. But I trust him because he was an amazing peace activist. He changed the world. He brought peace into the world such that Martin Luther King Jr. nominated him for a Nobel Prize, a Nobel Peace Prize. That doesn't happen without communicating peace to this world in a powerful way. Nice idea, but how does one begin to do this? By inviting us to the Sabbath in the midst of a passion. Wow. Luke, his narrative today. Sabbath. Coming to a stop, setting into all of those unresolved feelings and welcoming them, not as enemies, but as sources of your own healing. And I love Thich Nhat Hanh because he says things like this. It's easy. You can do it in 2 minutes. But what? I feel like I need a PhD in this or something. No. You can do it at a stop sign. You can do it in line at the grocery store. You can do it washing dishes. You can do it offering a smile to somebody. You can access this deep well of peace where God is already there, deep within you. If you just come back to where you are and receive what God is doing in your life right now, what God is teaching you in your life. Forgive yourself. Hold yourself. Don't make yourself a battleground. Welcome resentment, anger, sorrow, grief. Welcome it, but offer to hold it, to be with it, to listen to it, and to learn from it. This is counterintuitive for all of us in the West. We have a way of westernizing Jesus, who himself actually taught us to be present to today alone. Be with yourself. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Be anxious for nothing. Be open to the peace of God, which is not the peace the world offers, but a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that is beyond comprehension. It's right here. It's right now. If we don't breathe and receive it, you won't find it on your way to the car, unless you have it already. You won't find it when you get home, unless you have it now. You won't find it next year after you get through all that you need to get through, unless you're practicing it now. It will be there for you then, if you understand it's here for you now. Don't go running through Holy Week to get to Easter. Close the book. Observe this spiritual Sabbath. Even in the middle of your turbulent thoughts, be with yourself. Embrace some me-search. Treat yourself as you would a good friend who is suffering. Sit and be with the ways you suffer. Know that God is waiting for you in the middle and in the depths of your soul. God's already there. We just need to go there. It's easy. Just stop. Notice your breath. You are alive. You are here now. And so is God. Don't just do something. Sit there. I'm going to sit there and read again something I've shared before, Mary Rosowski's welcoming prayer for our meditation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I welcome everything that comes to me in this moment, because I know it is for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. I let go of my desire for security. I let go of my desire for approval. I let go of my desire for control. I let go of my desire to change any situation, condition, person, or myself. I open to the love and presence of God and the healing action of grace within. I am where I need to be. Everything around me includes and hides the sacred.